Aye, we give you the facts. It's not what you think. Popeye Newsling, Young King, 1 yard, bless.
Good morning, Popeye. Grandma watch Popeyes every morning and every night.
Greetings, viewers and subscribers. Today's video is brought to you by the SEVANA Transport Association and Online Services Limited. They are located at the source, near to the SEVANA Lamar Hospital on Barracks Road in SEVANA Lamar in the parish of Westmoreland. They can apply for your road license. They will also pay your traffic tickets. They purchase fitness fees. They also sell and install tracking device on your motor vehicle. A discount is offered for taxi operators. They also offer loan to taxi operators to fix up your vehicle, pay your insurance, or pay for your road license. You can visit them at the source or call 876-220-5048. That's 876-220-5048. Check them out. Now, today, we are going to take an unbiased look at a matter that was concluded in the Westmoreland Circuit Court yesterday. But first, many of you do not know the details of the accident, so I'm going to give you the details. And trust me, you will not hear these details anywhere else unless them come over here, so come copy. But let me ask you something from now. Let me ask you something. Yeah, man. Hit on the love button from now, because when we start, we're not going to stop. Also, if you are over here watching our videos and you have not yet subscribed, hit on the subscribe button. As also, hit on the notification bell. Then click all, so that whenever we upload a new video, you will be the first to be notified. And yes, different strokes are keep tomorrow. Yeah, man, if you plan on going to different strokes, it will keep tomorrow. So check it out. Now, the incident, it took place on the early morning of Tuesday, May 25th, 2021. It took place about 6 o'clock. It took place along the Scotts Cove main road in the parish of Westmoreland. Now, Scotts Cove is that main road like you're leaving White House towards St. Elizabeth, right before you reach the border. The community to the right is called South Sea Park. Now, the lady on your screen, her name is Ordia Cordiel. Ordia, she was born on February 3, 1989. So, last year, she was 32 years old. Ordia, she lived in the parish of St. Elizabeth. Now, she was traveling in a white Honda Fit motorcar. This car, it is owned by one of Ordia's sisters, but it was being driven by a lady named Marie. Marie, she's from a Westmoreland address. If you look on your screen, that is a photograph of the road that they were traveling on. Ordia and Marie, they were heading from St. Elizabeth towards White House direction. Another vehicle was traveling in front of the vehicle that Ordia and Marie were in. Now, a truck was coming in the opposite direction, traveling from White House towards St. Elizabeth direction. And here is a photograph of the road in the opposite direction. You see that? Now, traveling behind that truck was a grey 2020 Honda City motor car. That car, it is owned by ATL Automotive in Kingston, and it was being driven by Anna Blake. There she is on your screen. She is popularly known as SEVANA. She was 29 years old at the time. She is from the parish of Westmoreland, but she's living in Kingston. SEVANA, she's a recording artist and a filmmaker. In the car with SEVANA was her brother, Davin. At the time of the accident, Davin was 27 years old. He said to be a clothing designer, and he also lived in Kingston. So let's recap. Ordia, she was in a Honda Fit motorcar being driven by Marie. They were heading into Westmoreland. They were traveling behind another vehicle. SEVANA, she was driving a grey Honda City motorcar. She was accompanied by her brother. They were heading out of Westmoreland, and a truck was traveling in front of the car that they were traveling in. what next happened would change a lot of persons' lives forever, both directly and indirectly. SEVANA, she drove out and she overtook the truck that was traveling in front of her. By the time she had finished overtaking the truck, she realized that the vehicle that was traveling in the opposite direction, the one that was traveling in front of the car that Ordia was in, it didn't ease up. It was coming straight towards her. SEVANA, she panicked and she swerved to the left to avoid colliding into that vehicle. As a result, SEVANA ended up losing control of the Honda City that she was driving. The car, it ran off the main road into the left embankment. Listen to this now, boy, may I tell you. When Marie saw what was happening in front of her, she pulled off to the side of the road and she stopped the car that she and Ordia were in. The car that SEVANA was driving, remember I told you that it ran off the road into the left embankment? Well, it then came back onto the main road and collided head-on into the Honda Fit motor car, which was now stationary on the other side of the road. Now, if you look on your screen, that is a photograph of the white Honda Fit motor car that both Ordia and Marie were traveling in. On your screen now is the grey Honda City motor car that SEVANA was driving. You see that? Boy, may I tell you, it's a miracle how only one person, Ordia, boy. Now, as a result of this collision, Ordia, Marie, SEVANA, and her brother Davin, they were all seriously injured. They were all rushed to the Black River Public Hospital in St. Elizabeth, but on the evening of Sunday, May 30, 2021, about some minutes to 7 o'clock, Ordia, she succumbed to her injuries. She was pronounced DEAD by the doctor on duty. SEVANA, she was eventually charged by the police for the offense of causing death by dangerous driving. She was brought before the Westmoreland Parish Court, where she was offered bail in the sum of $400,000. She went to the parish court on a few occasions until the case was committed to the circuit court. For those who don't understand how the process works, cases of this nature can only be tried in the circuit court. On Monday, October 31, 2022, SEVANA, she went to the Westmoreland Circuit Court, being presided over by Justice Courtney Day. She didn't bother to waste the court's time. SEVANA pleaded guilty. Now, there are a few reasons why persons plead guilty when they are brought before the court. One of the reasons is that the person is sorry for what he or she did. They are admitting to the wrongs they did and they are willing to face the consequences of his or her actions. Another reason is that they are of the view that if the case was to go to trial, they would not stand a chance of being acquitted due to the overwhelming evidence the Crown has. Remember now, the defendant and their lawyer, they would have the statements given by the witness, etc. Anyway, the long and short of it is that SEVANA, she pleaded guilty. Now, in most jurisdictions, persons are given a discount on their sentence for pleading guilty. So, what is the maximum sentence for causing death by dangerous driving under the Road Traffic Act in Jamaica? Look at your screen. It says, imprisonment for a term not exceeding 5 years and disqualification from holding a driver's license for 6 months. Now, in Trinidad and Tobago, any person who is convicted of causing death by dangerous driving, they are liable to conviction and indictment to imprisonment of 15 years. That's the maximum. Also, a person convicted for that offense, they shall be disqualified for a period of 15 years from the date of conviction from holding or obtaining a driving permit. The court is also empowered to order a longer period of disqualification. In England, Before June 28, 2022, the maximum penalty was 14 years in prison, and the offender's driver's license was suspended for a minimum of 2 years. At the end of the period of suspension, the offender had to be retested. Effective June 28 this year, and we are talking about England. The maximum penalty for causing death by dangerous driving is life in prison. The offender's driver's license will also be suspended for a term not less than 5 years, and at the end of that term, they must be retested to get another license. Now, back in Jamaica, SEVANA, she pleaded guilty on her first appearance in the Westmoreland Circuit Court on October 31. The matter, it was put off for sentencing last week and further put off for sentencing until yesterday, Thursday, November 17th, 2022. Now, based on the sentence imposed by the court, I know a lot of persons, them are going to say, money run, the judge eat her food. Now, I am not going to be joining that chorus because there is no evidence to support that. Justice Courtney Day, he fined SEVANA 300,000 Jamaican dollars or 2 years imprisonment. He also suspended her license for 2 years. Justice Day, in handing down sentence, he said this to SEVANA, and I quote, "From what I understand, your risk level is low. You are not likely to repeat this incident. You also suffered injuries. You have some emotional trauma. You are also affected by it." The judge, he also pointed to the fact that SEVANA, she pleaded guilty and that she showed remorse from the beginning. The judge also pointed out that this was SEVANA's first offense. So the question is, was justice done or not? Was the judge too lenient? Marie, who was the driver for the car that Ordia was traveling in and who was also seriously injured, she expressed her displeasure with the sentencing and indicated that she will be taking further legal action. One of Ordia's sister, who was in the court, on hearing the sentence passed by the judge, she stormed out of court and was very, very upset. Now, let's reason. Let's reason. All judges in Jamaica, they are guided by that document on your screen. It's called Sentencing Guidelines for use by judges of the Supreme Court of Jamaica and the Parish Court. It is a long read, but you can find it on the supremecourt.gov.jm website. Now, if you look on your screen, there are some of the mitigating factors that judges are advised to look at before passing sentence. And mitigating factors are those factors which reduce the seriousness of the offense or the culpability of the offender. The sentencing judge should also take into account mitigating factors relevant to both offense itself and the offender. Some of these factors are the age of the offender, the immaturity of the offender, the mental state of the offender, the previous character of the offender, the absence of premeditation. There are a lot more mitigating factors that I am imploring you to go and read them up. Factors like the offender's capacity for reform. Factors like cooperation with the police by the offender after the commission of the offense, and so on. So, let's look at one final part of the sentencing guidelines. It's on your screen. It's called the guilty plea discount. Once the sentencing judge has determined the sentence to be imposed, he or she is required to give consideration to a reduction in the sentence on account of a guilty plea. The reduction principle is employed because a guilty plea obviates the need for a trial, saves considerable costs and resources, and in the case of an early plea, saves victims and witnesses from the ordeal of giving evidence. It also serves to encourage others to plead guilty where appropriate. A guilty plea may also be regarded as an indication of remorse in an appropriate case. So, having heard all of that, and I implore you, go and read the sentencing guideline. Do you think justice was done? Also, what we have to bear in mind is that this is not the end of the matter. Marie, the driver of the car, she's saying that she's going to be taking legal action. Yes, Marie, that's your right. I implore you to pursue your right. I am sure that the relevant family member of Ordia, they will also be taking legal actions. The fact that SEVANA pleaded guilty in the criminal court, I don't think there will be a trial in the civil court. It is my view that the civil court will only be called upon to determine the amount of money to be paid out. It might also end up costing SEVANA, because let's say the insurance company where the car is insured that she was driving, it has a policy limit of, let's say, about $5 million, and the court awarded, let's say, $7 million. Do you see where I'm going with this? Once again, I said this last year, I'd like to say condolences to the family and friends of Ordia. Ordia was a sweet soul. Trust me when I tell you, everyone who knew Ordia, them have nothing but good to say about her. May her sweet soul continue to sleep in peace. Blessed love, everybody.